Hey guys, it's Olivia and I'm back with another video. So a few weeks ago, I uploaded a video doing a ride along of my first day doing Uber Eats. And so now I've been doing Uber Eats for about 6 weeks now. Despite everything that's going on, Uber Eats is considered an essential service. Therefore, I have still been working. And so since I've been doing Uber Eats for about 6 weeks now, I have learned some things that have exponentially increased my earnings, and I want to share those things with you. I'm going to share with you some tips that I use in order to make $1,300 in 1 week. But before we get into this week's video, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I'm making videos every Monday. I make anywhere from Uber videos like this to rant videos to how to make money online videos. And with all that being said, let's get into this week's video. So first, I just want to show you this screen recording of my phone. So this is from last week. It says April 13th to April 20th, but today is Monday, April 20th. So this is from Monday, April 13th to Sunday, April 19th. And as you can see, I made $1,314.82. So if I go through the days, on Monday I made $219.43, then $212.27, $209.75. I didn't work on Thursday because that was my dad's birthday, so I stayed home with him. Friday I made 307, Saturday 228.94, and on Sunday 137.43. So I did a total of 134 trips. I worked for 43 hours and 9 minutes. And for the breakdown, my total earnings was $1,314.82. So $889.78 of that was from trip earnings, $64.87 was from boosts, and $360.17 was from tip. So that was my earnings from last week, and I'm going to tell you a couple of things I do to make that much, because if we go to a couple of weeks prior, I made $1,005.76 with 104 trips and 40 hours and 8 minutes. So how am I able to earn $1,300 in 6 days? Because I didn't work on Thursday. I only drove 6 days a week last week and I made 1,300. One, do Uber Eats in an area where there is no parking. Allow me to explain. So I do Uber in downtown Toronto, where you either have to park on the side of the street or they have like paid parking lots. And the thing about downtown is that people who live downtown typically don't have a car because you don't need one, because if you live downtown and you work downtown, then you can either walk to work or you take the train to work. So people who live downtown generally don't have a car, and if they do, it's not to drive around downtown, it's to drive from downtown to somewhere else. So the reason why this is relevant is because if you deliver somewhere where people don't have cars, then they're not going to go out to get their food because they don't have a car. So if they want something from the other side of the city, they're not going to walk there and they're not going to take the train there. So what are they going to do? They're going to order. And let's just say that this person does have a car. Everywhere in downtown Toronto is paid parking, whether you're going to park on the side of the street or whether you're going to park in one of the Green Pea parking lots. Everything costs money, right? And so why are they going to go out to pay for parking to get their food when they can just order their food? So it's like, let's break it down this way. Would you rather pay for parking and pay for your food, or pay for your delivery and then pay for the food as well? Because it might come up to the same amount of money. The difference is with one of those, you don't have to leave your house. So the reason why some people don't like delivery is because of the delivery fee. But then if the delivery fee is going to be the same amount as the parking fee, then you might as well stay at home and pay the delivery fee. So a lot of people downtown order because, one, they might not have a car to get to the place that they want to order from, or two, even if they do have a car, then they have to pay for parking. So it's like, why pay for parking when you can just pay for the delivery instead? So yeah, if you go somewhere where there's no parking, people don't want to leave their house to pay for parking, so they'd just rather pay the delivery fee instead. Number two, go to a bougie area. Like if you go somewhere where there's really big houses, or if you go somewhere where there's a lot of condos, like those bougie condos where you have to like use a key fob to even make the elevator go up. One of those condos, then they have a concierge and all this stuff. If you go to one of those condos, listen, you're getting all the tips. So it's like even if the actual delivery price isn't a lot, let's say you get $3, $4 for an order, that person will can tip you like upwards of $8, $9, $10. Like a lot of tips I get are between $8 and $13, and it's because every condo downtown is a bougie condo. Like that's just what it is. And then if I get taken a little north, like if I get into North York, there are some huge houses in North York. I've been to this one house where there was like 40 steps just to get up to their front door. Like it was this massive house on like on top of this hill, right? And that was the person who gave me the $13 tip. And so yeah, if you deliver to rich people, they tip well. So, yeah, find a bougie area. Number three, follow surges, not boosts. So, what I mean by that is a boost is this like outlined area where it might say 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, which basically means that is how much your delivery will get multiplied by. So like for example, let's say you would only get $1 for a delivery, which never happens, but let's just pretend for the sake of using easy numbers. Let's say you would only get $1 for a delivery. Well, now for that delivery, you're going to get $1.30 because it's multiplied by 1.3, right? So don't follow those zones, especially in Toronto, because the highest I have ever seen in Toronto is 1.4, and that was before everything broke out. Now, since the virus, the highest I've ever seen is 1.2. So then you get an extra few cents per order. You get an extra 87 cents here, an extra 62 cents there. And while it does add up, like when you look at my boost earnings for last week was $64.87. That is from being in those areas. So it's an extra $64, which is nothing to turn your nose up at. However, a surge is these like glowing areas that'll have a dollar amount. So I might say $2, $2.50, $3, $4, $5, which means if you pick up an order in that area, you're getting whatever your trip is worth plus $5. So I've done McDonald's orders where I get like $3, but then I picked it up in that surge area and I ended up getting $8 for a McDonald's order. I, like, from the time I accepted the order, drove to the restaurant, picked it up, drove to the person's house, it took me a grand total of like 7 minutes, and then I got $8. That's more than $1 a minute, okay? And so when you, like, you will literally drive around the corner and get $10. Like, I remember once I picked up this pizza and I picked it up, walked outside, swiped to start delivery, and then I literally turned my head to the right and the person's building was right beside it. I didn't even get back in my car. I just walked over. It was literally, I counted my steps. It was 120 steps away, okay? This person lived around the corner. The whole trip took me like 4 minutes and I got $11. Surge areas are where it is at. Plus, then the person tipped me after that. So that went up to like a $15 order. $15 for 4 minutes. What? Surge areas are where it is at. You will double, triple the amount that you would usually get. Instead of getting $3 for a McDonald's order, you ended up getting $9 because of the surge. You just tripled your money. And that is before the tip. Okay? So surge areas, like especially Friday nights, for the past 2 Friday nights, there's been a surge like downtown core, like College and Spadina. If you're from Toronto, you know that intersection. This surge in that area was $5, an extra $5 for every order you did in that area. And I made so much money in that time. Like I average about $30 an hour. I probably made like $40 or $50 that hour. Okay, like it was ridiculous. Follow surges, follow the little glowy areas. Don't follow the little outlined areas, at least in Toronto, because the 1.2, okay, now instead of getting $1, you got $1.20, or you could get the $3 surge, and now you get an extra $3 instead of an extra 20 cents. Okay, that's what I thought. Follow the surge, not the boost. Number 4, and some people are going to go against this, but this is what I do, and these are just my tips. You don't have to do what I say, but accept every order. Honestly, I know that some people like to cherry pick. They don't want to do the McDonald's orders. They know it's only going to be $3, this, that, and the other. But you see, the reason why I make so much, like the most I've ever made in a day was $307. So let's just say $300. I worked for 10 hours that day. So that was $30 an hour, right? The reason why I was able to make that much is because I average about 3 orders an hour, and after tip, each order averages to about $10. So let's say this trip was $5, the next one was 15, well then that averages out to 10. So for each 3 trips I do, they all average to about $10 a trip. And then I do 3 of those an hour, which gives me $30 an hour, which means if I work for 10 hours, I get $300, right? So if you cherry pick and you're like, oh no, I don't want to do that one. So now you're sitting waiting for a next one. Oh, another $3 order, cancel, don't want to do it. Oh, another $3 cancel, don't want to do it. You're only going to do 1 or 2 trips an hour, which means if you're averaging $10 a trip, you're only going to get $10 or $20 an hour because you're only doing 1 or 2 trips an hour. The more trips you do, the more money you make. And the thing about short orders can mean that you end up squeezing in a 4th trip that hour. So, for example, if I do a McDonald's order and then I get $3 and then the person tips me $2, that's only $5. But then, since it was a short order that took me less than 10 minutes, well then I can squeeze in a couple more trips after that. So I did 1 order, then I got this McDonald's order, and then I was able to squeeze in 2 more within that hour. So now I got 10 for this one, 5 for the McDonald's, 10, 10. Now I made $35 that hour. $35 that hour. So I could have skipped the McDonald's order and then still got that 10 that came after it, still got the 10 that came after it, and then I would have made $30 in that 1 hour, which is still good. But now I made 35 because I accepted the McDonald's order that took me 7 minutes, right? So accept all your orders, because the more orders you do in 1 hour, the more money you're gonna make. The more orders you do, the more money you make. If you do 10 orders, you're gonna make less money than the person who did 20 orders. That just makes sense, right? And so you you just kind of have to hope that the person is going to tip you. And every single day that I've been doing Uber, I have been getting tipped more than 50% of the people. So let's say I do 20 trips, more than 10 people tip me. If I do 30 trips, more than 15 people tip me. It's always like 60, 70, 80% of the trips I do, I get tips. I've gotten days where 100% of the people have tipped me, right? But it's always majority, always more than 50% of the deliveries I do, I get a tip, and they tend to be $8 and up tips, right? And so the more trips you do, the more tips you get, the more money you make. So don't think of it as, oh, a $3 McDonald's order. Think of it as a potentially $10 McDonald's order, because they might tip you $7. And that's not just me like wishing like, oh, it happened one time, I hope it happens again. That has happened to me so many times. You don't know how many times I've been tipped $7, $8, $9 on McDonald's orders. So once again, that's just my personal experience, and that's just my area in downtown Toronto. So if you're doing downtown Toronto, maybe consider taking some McDonald's orders, or maybe if you're somewhere else, just see what happens. If you accepted 1 McDonald's order that one time and then you never got a tip, so you're saying, oh, I'm never doing McDonald's again, try it again. Especially in these times, people are being extra generous. So try a McDonald's order. You'll get $10 for 7 minutes of your time, okay? And so, yeah, accept every order. The more trips you do, the more trips you do per hour, meaning the more money you make per hour, meaning the more money you make for the whole day. Accept every order. Tip number 5, I think this is, which is going to go slightly kind of ish back on what I just said. Accept orders that you know you can do. So for example, a lot of pizza places want you to have an insulated bag, right? Which I have like a small one, but I don't have a pizza bag. So like if I go to like Pie Co., which is this place that serves like 12-inch, 14-inch pizzas, right? I can turn the bag sideways and fit those tiny pizzas in. But if like someone orders an 18-inch pizza, I can't carry that because I don't have a pizza bag. So if I see a pizza place that serves 18-inch pizzas, well, then I'm not going to accept that one because I know that I'm going to drive to the restaurant and they're not going to give me the food. Don't go to a place where you know they're not going to give you the food, because then obviously you're not going to make money on that order because they're not going to let you do that order. I have had pizza places turn me away because I didn't have an insulated bag. So if I know, oh, this place sells the 12-inch pizzas, I will go there. If I know this place sells the 18-inch pizzas, I won't go there. So accept every order that you will complete because they will actually let you take the food. If you know that you don't have a pizza bag and you know that this pizza place will not let you take the pizza without a pizza bag, then obviously don't do that order. But any order that you can complete, even if it's a McDonald's order, any order that you can complete, take it. So you need to know which places will let you pick up without an insulated bag if you don't have one, and like choose those ones. Like if you know there's an order that you can't complete for some reason, then obviously don't do that order. So you need to know, like if you've been to a store before and they've turned you away, now you make a mental note, don't accept from this place. So in order to not waste your gas and not waste your time by driving to a place where you know won't give you the food, don't like make note of, oh, I can't go to this restaurant. Oh, I can't go to that one, this, that. So learn your area and learn which restaurants you can't do, assuming you don't have an insulated bag or for some other reason. Like some places won't let you pick up from them if you're on a bike. You have to be in a car. So if you accept an order from that place and you're on a bike, then cancel it, because you know, like don't ride all the way there when you know they're not going to give you the food. So make note of which restaurants will give you the food and for what reason, and this, that, and the other. Number 6, learn which restaurants have customers that tip the most. So for example, for me, I know that people who order sushi tip a lot. Like I remember I picked up from this one sushi place and the person literally lived around the corner. The person lived 3 minutes away. I probably got like $4 for the order, and then they tipped me $10. So I got $14 for 3 minutes. Okay? So, yeah, like whenever I get an order for sushi, I know I'm getting a minimum $5 tip. Like I have very rarely gotten less than $5 on a sushi order. Or they either tip me at least $5 or they don't tip, period. But most people who order sushi tip, and when they do, they tip big. $5 plus, but most of the time it's $10 plus. So yeah, learn which places tend to have customers that tip more. Number 7, don't wait outside restaurants. Like I hear a lot of people say, oh, just like park your car near a bunch of restaurants. Like, oh, there's restaurants on this side of the street, this side of the street, so I'm just going to pull over and wait here. For some reason, that has never worked for me. What tends to happen is I'll pull over, wait 5, 10, 15 minutes, get nothing. Right as I drive off, I get an order. And that has happened to me more than once. Sometimes I've been impatient and I've just sat for 3 minutes and then I drove off and then I got a ping. So then I was like, oh, if I just waited in that spot, then I would have gotten the order. But other times I've sat in one spot for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, never got an order. And right as I drive off, I get an order. That cannot be a coincidence. I only get orders when I'm moving. If I'm not moving, I don't get an order. If you just like, even if you're in the spot where you know this is your busy spot, you pick up 90% of your orders from this street, okay? Don't wait on the street. Like you need to like drive a little bit away from it, and then it's gonna show up, and then you're gonna tap it, and then it's gonna be like behind you, and then you're gonna have to make a U-turn. You don't know how many U-turns I make in a day because I always get the ping for the restaurant right after I pass it. If I'm sitting outside of it, I do not get it. If it's ahead of me, I do not get it. It's always like the restaurant is here. I'm here. I'm driving. Oop, now I got the ping after I passed the restaurant that was on my right. Then I have to make a U-turn. I have to make 2 U-turns because I have to make, you know how Spadina is. There's that giant island in the middle of the road. So it's like I passed it. So then I have to make a U-turn around the island. Now I'm on the other side of the road. And then I have to make a U-turn again so that I am back on the other side of the island beside the restaurant. I have to make 2 U-turns for one restaurant a whole bunch of times a day because you never, like, for me, I don't get orders when I'm stationary. Like, I have to pass the restaurant before I get an order for that restaurant. I don't know why, but that has what has been happening to me for 6 consecutive weeks. I remember this one time I went to pick up from this bubble tea place, and this guy, like, I just went in, got my order, came out, and as I was walking to my car, he told me, I've been waiting outside of here for an hour, and I've just been seeing people going in, getting orders, and I haven't gotten an order for this place. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you because this is like when I was like 2 weeks in, so I didn't really realize being stationary. If you like people, you will be sitting right in front of the restaurant and you will see other Uber drivers come in and get food from that restaurant and leave. You will not get the ping when you're right outside the restaurant. I don't know why. I don't know why they made that other person drive 5 minutes to get to the restaurant when you were literally right outside of it. But I never, ever get orders when I am right outside the restaurant. And that guy was waiting outside this one bubble tea place where it was busy. When I went in there was like 7 drivers. Like, people were just going in and out, in and out. This is a very popular bubble tea place. And he was waiting outside, waiting for his order for an hour. He never got a ping. His phone never went off because he was just waiting outside. I bet you if he had driven away, he would have gotten one for that place. And it would have been annoying because then you have to do the double U-turn because you're on Spadina. However, at least you would have started making money instead of just sitting there waiting for an hour to get this bubble tea that other drivers are going to get because they're not waiting right outside the restaurant. I don't know why that is, but when you wait at a restaurant, you never get a ping for that restaurant. I don't know why it happens. It just happens. So drive around, find your spots and drive between those spots. Don't just drive mindlessly and like waste all your gas, but like drive to the spots, and while you're coming up to the spot, you'll get a ping. If you just sit by your busy spot, for some unknown reason, you're not gonna get a ping. I don't know why. And number 9, don't be afraid to get taken away from your central zone. So I was saying like, oh, follow the surge and like go to bougie places and all this stuff. So I go to downtown because downtown tends to have high surges and there's a bunch of bougie condos. So I tend to make a lot of money downtown. However, sometimes somebody will order something from downtown to North York. So then I'm going to get a lot of money for that order because they're like 10-15 minutes away. So I'm going to make more than $10 for that order, right? But now I'm in a different area which doesn't have a boost or a surge and maybe doesn't have bougie houses. So then now I'm making $4 for this order and $3 for that order and all this stuff. So what some people like to do is they turn off the app, drive back to their like central spot and then turn it back on. I don't do that, and here is why. If you get a ping that will take you from Toronto to North York, you will eventually get a ping that will take you from North York back to Toronto. There is going to be somebody that orders from where you are back to Toronto. It happens to me like every single time. Every single time I get taken out of Toronto, I might get taken to Etobicoke, I might get taken to East York, I might get taken to North York. Every time I get taken out of downtown Toronto, I always get an order that takes me right back downtown. So don't turn off the app and then drive back because then you're not getting paid for those kilometers that you're driving back. Wait for the order where you pick it up, you click start delivery, and then the address is somewhere in downtown Toronto, because then you're going to get paid. Like, you got paid for that 15 minutes that it took you to drive from Toronto to North York. Now you're going to get paid for that 15 minutes that's taking you from North York back to downtown Toronto. So then you're going to get back to your central spot and you're going to get paid to get back to your central spot, right? So there are times where it'll take me out of downtown Toronto and I will spend an hour outside of downtown Toronto. but then you get that order that takes you back, and then you get paid $15 for that order, and now you're back where you wanted instead of driving back to downtown Toronto for free. And like, yeah, now you're back in your zone and now you're making your money, but you just made no money for that 15 minutes. That is a quarter of your hour. So then you're not going to make $30 that hour because you just spent a quarter of your hour offline trying to get back to your central spot. I'm not saying, like, I can't say guaranteed you will get an order that will take you back downtown, but every single time that I personally have been taken out of downtown, I always get an order that takes me back into downtown all the time. So if you get taken out of your spot, don't go offline and drive back to your spot. Just wait for an order that will take you back to where you want to go. And number 10, this is like the most important tip. Put in the hours. If you don't put in the hours, you're not going to make the money. You can't go out for an hour and expect to make $300. That's not going to happen. If you're averaging $30 an hour like me and you're going to go out for an hour, you're going to make $30. That is what is going to happen. Or you might make a little bit more because it averages. Like 1 hour I might make 37 and then the next hour I make 23, which then averages to the $30 an hour, right? So if you go for an hour, you'll make between like 30 and 40 bucks, right? So you can't say, oh, I want to make $100 today and then go out for 2 hours. Like, that's most likely not going to happen. If you, like, my original goal was make $100 a day. Then, like, at first, my first, like, couple of weeks doing it when I was trying to figure out where my spots were, like, where it gets a lot of, like, where do you get a lot of orders? Where do you get a lot of tips? All this stuff. While I was trying to figure that out, it would take me 5 hours to get to $100. So I was like, 5 hours of work, $100, $20 an hour. Okay, the sun has set now, I'm going home. Now, because I know my spots, I make $100 in 3 hours. In 3 hours. Sometimes like 3.5 hours, right? So I'm like, I've been out here. I tend to start at 11 a.m., or at least I try to. So now it's 2 o'clock. Like, if I go home, like, especially now that I'm finished school and everything, if I go home, all I'm going to do is watch TV. That's not productive and that's not making me any money. So why am I going to go home? So I'm going to go out for another 3 hours. Oh, now it's 5. And because it's spring, the sun still hasn't set yet. I'm at $200. You know what? I'm going to go out. I'm going to go till I get to 300, which is another 3 hours. And now it's 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30. And now I've made my 300 and I went home. Like, you can't just say, like, I used to set my goal as 100, and right as I got to 100, I'd go offline. Even if the sun was still up, even if there was a $5 surge, like an extra $5 for every order, I'd say, oh, but I met my goal, go home. No, like, yes, have a goal, because if you don't have that goal of 100, then you'll get to like 30 and then it'll be dry for a little bit and you'll be like, oh, I'm not getting orders, go offline. Like, still have your minimum goal. Like, my minimum goal per day is still $100, right? But if I get to 100 and the sun is still very much at its peak in the sky because it's 2 in the afternoon, why am I gonna go home? I don't have homework, school's over. I don't have class, school's over. I don't have anything to do. Therefore, why am I gonna go home? Right? Plus, especially for me, it's like I drove all the way downtown. I don't live close to downtown. It takes me like half an hour just to get downtown. So it's like I drove all the way here. Why am I not gonna put in the time? Like, that would just be a waste of gas if you drove all the way there, made 20 bucks, and then drove back home. Like, why? At that point, you might as well have just stayed home, right? So if you want to make the money, you have to put in the time. I made $1,300 and I spent 43 hours, right? 43 hours in 6 days. So that averages to about 7 hours a day, right? There was one day I did 10 hours, a couple of days where I did 3 hours, all this stuff, right? And so you have to put in the time. If you don't put in, you have to put in the time for multiple things. You have to put in the time to figure out where your spots are. Like, this is one of my spots. It's not like I'm not getting a lot of orders today. Let me drive to my other spot. Let me drive to my other spot. You need to know, you need to have multiple spots in case one spot happens to be dry at this specific point in time. You also need to know what spots are like getting a lot of orders at what times, because I know, okay, this spot gets a lot between 11 and 2, this spot gets a lot between 2 and 3:30, and this spot, like, you need to know your market. So for the first like few weeks that you're doing it, you might not make a lot of money because you're still learning your market. So you need to learn where gets a lot of hits and what time those places get a lot of hits. That way you're always in the right spot at the right time and you're always getting orders. I get back to back to back to back to back orders. I accept a new order before I'm even done the current one. Like, when you get close to your drop off point, if there is another order in your area, you will get that order. Like, for almost all my orders, I pick up the next one before I've even completed the one that I'm doing, because I'm always in the right spot because I've learned my market. So you need to take the time to learn your market. And once you've learned your market, you need to spend the hours, or else you're not going to make the money. And I understand that not everybody can just go out there for 10 hours to make your $300, because maybe you have work, maybe you're in school, maybe you have to take care of your kids, all this stuff. I understand that. Like me, I have no responsibilities at this specific point in time. School is not happening, so all I would be doing if I stayed home was watching TV. So instead of watching TV, I'm going and doing Uber, right? So I have no responsibilities right now. Therefore, I can go out for 10 hours and do my thing and come back home, right? I understand that not everybody can do that. So if you only have 4 hours to work, don't be upset or don't be confused when you don't make as much money as somebody who put in 10 hours. So you're still gonna make your 4 hours worth of money. You're still gonna get your 100, 110, 120. You're still gonna get your money. But then don't be like, oh, well, how come this person made 300 and I only made 120? Because that person put in 3 times more hours than you, so they made 3 times the amount of money, right? So you need to put in the time. You need to put in the time to learn your market. And after you've learned your market, you need to put in the time to make the money, because that's the only way you're going to make money. You're not going to make $300 in 2 hours. If you only have 2 hours to spare, go out, get your $60. And then, so if you did that 7 days a week, that would be $420 a week. Go make your $420 a week. Just because I made $1,300 doesn't mean that your $420 is invalid. Like, that's money. That's $420 more than you had before. So go make your money. But then don't compare your earnings to someone else's earnings if you're not putting in the same amount of time. Put in the time to make the money. So yeah, those are my 10 tips for Uber Eats. This is only after 6 weeks, but I'm earning a fair amount of money, so I feel like I can give my 2 cents, at least for my market, because this obviously won't work for every single place around the world, but this is what I've been doing for downtown Toronto. So if you live around Toronto, if you live in the GTA and you haven't tried Uber Eats in downtown, try it. Like, honestly, go downtown, find your spots, and make your money. So that's all for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it, or I hope you learned something. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. All my social media links will be down below in case you want to follow me on there. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday, and I'll see you next Monday with a new video.